Okay, so let me clear this up for the internet clowns who focus on retardation their entire lives. Okay, so this statistic is from the U.S. United States Census Bureau. It's table 4 FG4, table FG4, married couple family groups by presence of own children in specific age groups and age, earnings, education, and race, and Hispanic origin of both spouses from 2010. All right, so that's how census works. You might say 2010 is dated, but that's when the census happened. Okay, a census occurs every 10 years. So next year will be a census. 2020 is a multiple of 10. All right, so now check this out. As you can see in this chart here, married couples in the United States in 2010, the last census that we had. We're coming up on another census in 2020. It only happens every 10 years. So, as you can, if you know how to read a chart, which you probably don't because you're an internet clown, there's a white husband and a white wife. There were 50,410,000 roughly. These are rounded census statistics. So white husband marrying a white wife. So out of those marriages, they married 97.7% white. They marry each other. Okay, I'm gonna skip around to emphasize this point here. So a black husband marries a black wife at 89.2%, and there were 4,072,000 marriages recorded or reported and recorded in 2010. Let me go back here. It says Asian husband, that's the next row. And then the next column is the Asian wife, 2,855,000 marriages recorded in 2010, according to the U.S. Census Bureau. 91.8% of Asian men marry Asian women. Okay. Now, people who identify as others. So I suppose that would be some form of mulatto, black and white, or mixed Asian and black, mixed Asian and white, or whatever. All these mongrel races, as some people like to put it. So now check this out. The other husband. Let's examine it now. This is a high percentage. Other husbands marry a white wife. 44%. There were 488,000 of those particular marriages. Then you have other husband marrying other wife at 51%. What is this showing you? That whatever race you identify as is the race that you are likely to marry at a very high percentage. White men marry white women marry white men, black men marry black women marry black men, Asian men marry Asian women marry Asian men, and others that can't figure out what race they are marry others who can't figure out what race they are. That's how it works. Okay, so the rest of these stats are pretty much a drop of a bucket, the dust of the balance scale, and irrelevant to the conversation. So, you got a lot of big mouths everywhere that drown out all reality at all times and stay as highly disrespectful as they possibly can uh, without consequences. So then they have the nerve when you pull out real information to threaten your life. So that's confusing to me because I mean there's nobody in my life that would set me up in that way unless you pay them quite a bit of money that you don't have, clown. You see what I'm saying? So I've survived many assassination attempts, and quite a bit of money was placed on my head multiple times, and there's nobody close to me that thinks that I'm worthy of death. Okay, so now how did that happen? It's because I do everything in my power to please God, and the way you please God is by pleasing His people. You have to know who His people are. This is what I found out as an Israelite. I found out who His people are, and everyone that I deal with is His people. So you have to please His people. So there's prescriptions for that. There's like a diet for that. There's programs for that in order to please them. There's ways to make them happy. Methods, techniques. All these things are found in the basic instructions before leaving Earth. You see? You call it the Bible, Bull, as if it's completely fictitious. And the only reason you're doing that is to please your massa, Albert Pike. Niggas love Albert Pike. Stupid niggas. Morals and dogma of the ancient and accepted Scottish rite of Freemasonry. So my city was founded by Scottish dick suckers. And you people suck Scottish dick is what you do. Now, Morals and Dogma of the Ancient and Accepted Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, or simply Morals and Dogma, is a book of esoteric philosophy published by the Supreme Council, quote unquote, 33rd degree of the Scottish Rite, Southern Jurisdiction of the United States. Of course, it's Southern Jurisdiction. Because, like I said, I'm in the Middle East, which is known as the South. North Carolina is what it's called. Dummies around the country don't even know the difference between North Carolina and South Carolina. They don't have a clue. They get them mixed up. They call it the Carolinas. They may even believe that South Carolina is above North Carolina. You understand? It's like they don't know the difference between North and South. If I would say North Dakota is below South Dakota, I would consider myself a flaming retard. But these people go around talking complete insanity about uselessness. So now, I just mentioned marriages. So now, if we're talking about dating, that's a different topic. Okay, so you shouldn't be. The only purpose of dating today is to get dick for women to get dick without a commitment. Their entire purpose for dating. Sometimes they're hungry and want a free meal every day from dating very often, because they're too broke to get their meals. But most women on the face of the planet make a living for themselves. Now, another point I want to make here is that the government. This is what you don't understand. Government uh, percentage. Let me see how I can place this word. This percentage of government population is kind of like what I'm looking for here. Government percentage of government employees. Yeah, that's the one I want to look for. Government employees across the country is far from evenly distributed. In some states, federal workers, as well as state and local government employees, account for anywhere between 12% to 15% of total employment. Okay, that's interesting. 12% to 25% are government employees? I didn't know that. I learned something. I thought the government was closer to 90% of employees, percentage of workforce employed by the government in every U.S. state. Let's see if this agrees with that quick stat. Using data from the U.S. Census Bureau, see, those are the people who count everybody. We found the share of employed people in each state and D.C. who work for their local state or federal government. D.C. and its surrounding states had relatively high shares of government employment, while Midwestern states saw smaller shares. Okay, so let's see if we can find a numerical stat. D.C. and Alaska were tied for the highest share of government workers, with 25% of employed people working for the government in both jurisdictions. Okay, well then I don't even have to address the point that I wanted to make about the government. This just proves the opposite of what I was about to say. So I was about to say that the government is 90% of American employees. And so there's no use trying to convince the vast population of people in the United States to do something. No one has that much power. Farrakhan is about the only man that is called for a gathering that attracted 1 million people. He's got to be the only guy that's ever done that, except for maybe Martin Luther King. you may have gotten about 2 million people when Martin Luther King called a gathering at the Washington Mall. All right, so now this enforces the opposite point that I was trying to make. I was trying to say that there's no use of trying to, it's a complete 100% utter waste of time of trying to convince the entire population of the United States, which is close to 300 million. Let me show you that population of the United States. Okay. Bam, 327.2 million. 327.2 million. So that's a lot of people. And the only amount that that was influenced by the two largest gatherings of black people on American soil, other than the Civil War, was the Million Man March and the Martin Luther King March on Washington. See what I'm saying? So that's a tiny, tiny percentage. Let me show you something. A percent calculator, right? 327 million. Don't forget that number. Percentage calculator. All you have to do is pull up the tool. Okay. That's not a percentage calculator. This should be a percentage calculator here. Okay. What is the percent? I don't know. Okay. Okay, now what is the percent? I don't know. So now it's what percent of, here we go. That's what I'm looking for now. You got the number. I want the percent of 327 million. 327 million. I'm gonna put the whole number so y'all don't think I'm cheating. Instead of abbreviating it to 327. What is the percent? Okay. Is what percent? Okay, so you got 1 million from the Million Man March to possibly close to 2 million in the MLK gathering, right? So let's add those together. 1 million plus 2 million is, you guessed it, 3 million. See, you are smart. 3 million, okay. 3 million is what percent of 327 million? See, it's a word problem. You got to know how to utilize the tools as well. You see, you calculate, and then just shortly here, it's going to tell you how much the percentage is. When are you going to calculate? Hurry up and compute. 3 million is what percent of 327 million? Okay, I suppose maybe the numbers are too big and it doesn't want to calculate it, so we're going to use, this is the exact same, I know you're not smart enough, but it's the exact same technique to find the percentage of 3 is what percent of 327. So we know this is calculated in the millions, but it's giving you a percentage. So you don't understand the difference. So I'm going to calculate it anyway, just because that's just the smart thing to do. So that is 0.9% of the population of the United States. 327 million. 3 million is 0.9% of the current population. Now, if you want to count everybody that has lived and died from the 60s to now, you approaching 500 million people. You understand? And the percentage gets much less. So 1% is before the decimal point. Let me show you what 1% looks like. Just so you be intelligent here. Let me use this spot here because the other one isn't showing. Now, this is what 1% looks like. It looks like this. 1%. 1.0%. That's what it looks like. So you see the percentage sign here. Hopefully you see the percentage sign there. Okay. And 0.9 is less than 1% of the United States population. So you're not effecting any form of change at all. all but uh, the outcome of the MLK gathering was full 100% integration, which completely destroyed the African American economy. We no longer have our own economy, autonomous economy. You see? You see? It now is fully 100% integrated and much more easily manipulated. Our economy is much more easily manipulated under their control. And it's illegal for you to be under their control. According to the basic instructions before leaving Earth, you're not supposed to allow people to rule over you other than your family. So you have a nuclear family, then you got an extended family, then you have what I call a super extended family, which is like, you got your bloodline, your house. Like, let me show you what I'm talking about here, because I know you guys don't have any idea of things. So you see, house of, okay, so my last name, my the slave name that I inherited was the House of Wesley. I hit the button right there. Okay. Coat of arms. Let me do the coat of arms. Coat of arms, right? House of Wesley, because House of Wesley is like a famous restaurant chain all over everywhere. So I didn't want to confuse you further than you already are. Okay, so the Wesley name meaning family history, family crest, and coats of arms. Okay, so Wesley means from the west. That's the etymology of it, and that's what this is. So you see, you got the House of McCormick. That's from Ireland. You got the House of Wesley is from England. The House of all these things. House of Diligent and Secret. House of different houses. This is your super extended family, your family tree. Okay, and then you have the original extended family, which traces back to Adam. You see, Adam and Eve. I mean, yeah, Noah actually and his three sons, because Adam and Eve's half of their family was completely premeditatedly murdered by the Most High for their wickedness. You understand? So it was righteous killings and justified homicides of half of Adam and Eve's children by way of Cain. So Cain's whole family died, and the bloodline of Seth survived the flood by way of Noah. And Cain's bloodline survived through a wife, the wife of Noah. So both bloodlines survived. However, hundreds of millions of people were killed on purpose because of their extreme wickedness. Okay? Unless you want to imagine that only 40 people lived before the flood. And I know that dumb people completely ignore anything biblically based. So I'm not talking to you at all. I'm glad you turned turned off by that because I don't want your wickedness to be anywhere near me. You understand? So you get anywhere near me, and then I will just utilize God's justice and kill you myself. Okay? So now, that's pretty much all I wanted to discuss about this is you got big mouths all over the internet talking about swirling and dusty beta males and what does Tariq talk? I hate to use people direct name, but Tariq's kind of semi cool. But if you half cool and half wicked, you all the way wicked. You understand? So I don't appreciate being half wicked. You know, every documentary that Deborah and her husband dropped in the Whited Out series, you want to time your documentary to drop at the same time as hers. Unless you guys organize that in order to compete on purpose to draw more attention to each other's documentaries. If you did that in private, then I apologize. But it doesn't appear that way to me. It appears that the Tariq series, the Hidden Color series, is purposely designed to drown out Israelite information, just like every other movement on the face of the planet does. FOI, NOI, that's all designed for the purpose that Albert Pike laid out in Morals and Dogma. Albert Pike, Morals and Dogma, wants the an agenda to take place by his followers. See what I'm saying? So he wants his followers to get rid of every religion. How? How are you going to do that? Oh, you guys are getting paid to slander every religion on the face of the planet. Getting paid pennies compared to the value of working with and accepting your own nationality, your own house of your own super extended family. Most of you are completely unaware Israelites. The Moors are unaware Israelites. Every big mouth on the internet is an unaware Israelite. Only aware Israelites that know their nationality, accept the Hamashiach as the savior for the house of Israel. There are two houses within greater Israel. There's the house of Israel, and then there's the house of Judah. That one super extended family of the house of Israel separated into two distinct family groups called the house of Israel and the house of Judah. So in these last days that we are currently in, those two families will reconcile with each other, and they will become one family again and live amongst each other. And dare any of you clowns to come around, I'm already insulated in that way where there's only, nobody that I can possibly think of has the motivation to kill me. It's impossible. So for you to come around bribing niggas behind people's back, putting money on people's head, how are they gonna do it? They gotta get close to me first. And then the dumb people, I can see it in their eyes a mile away. Any faggot that accepted a bribe to kill another black man, that's 100% coon. You COINTELPRO's agents ain't pros. You're not professionals. You understand? You're not professionals because you hire any coon that is willing to kill a black man. So when I look around into the eyes of a black man and I don't see any love in his eyes, because you can clearly see when somebody likes you or dislikes you. It's easy. For me, it's easy to see. So I ran into the mayor this week. Ran into the mayor. I saw him and I was shocked. I was like, I know my eyes were telling him some strange stories, but the reaction of my eyes made him stutter step and stop. Turn towards me like, is there something that you want? I mean, I didn't even address him, but he saw the reaction of me seeing him walking past me. And I thought I had recognized him, right? But I had recognized him as being the man who buried my little brother. His name Mitch Colvin. That's the mayor of my city now. His family owns Colvin Funeral Home. So they bury people. They've been burying people for dozens of decades around here. So they family deep in Fayetteville, you understand? And so he was walking past me. I'm thinking to myself, that's the Colvin guy who buried my brother. Then I realized when he stopped and stutter stepped and turned towards me, I recognized his face very clearly from the news, all the recent news and stuff. Because I mean, it's kind of hard to recognize him because he looks just like the police chief and all that stuff. So we got black people now, and this is unusual for me because this town has been severely, supremely Ku Klux Klan-y white for years since I've been here. And so he stopped, stutter step, stopped, turned around, and was like, do you want to acknowledge me or something? And I just stuck my head and I was like, I kind of pointed at him. I was like, ain't you the bear? You know, instead of saying, you the man who buried my little brother, I said, aren't you the mayor? And he said, yeah. So we reached out to each other with a quick handshake. And then I was like, nice to meet you. He was like, very nice to meet you. Well, he said, nice to meet you too, and he polite guy. And that's how it works. That's how it works. So I'm saying that when he noticed my reaction, he noticed a genuine interest or confusion, but he didn't detect any form of hate coming towards him. So he stopped, felt very comfortable. I met him in the bank, in my bank, Wells Fargo Bank. I met him in the bank. I was getting the money out of the bank. He walked past me, stutter step, stopped, looked at me, and said, he was looked at me with that look like, you need something? But he wasn't afraid at all. You know what I'm saying? He didn't have any fear because he didn't recognize me as a threat towards him. So I'm telling you this because I didn't detect the same thing from him. I didn't detect him as a threat. I didn't detect him as destructive to black people. I didn't detect any hate. I detected straight up 100% love. So when I'm looking around and I'm interacting with people, when I'm out in public, you people aren't aware of anything. You go into your beta brain, your beta mode brain. You got to look that up in science. You got beta thinking, where you kind of Sleepwalking is what you're doing. As you go on shopping at your Walmart, waiting on the man to come in there and spray the Walmart up, you're not aware of your surroundings. Me, I'm a different animal. I'm super aware. I'm super woke. It's a special power. You understand? It's supernatural. You understand? So I'm looking around at people's eyeballs because the eyeballs tell you exactly what they're thinking. So sometimes I might be walking around and then you got a stupid looking white man that's been following me around that used to follow me around for months. And I notice him in different varying locations where I will go, right? And he's got a gun on his, open carry gun on his hip. And every single time I looked at him, he had that severely pissed off face. So the eyes tell you that he don't mean no good. So a dumbass would do something like this. Walk up to him and say, "Hey man, do you got a problem?" Pow pow, bow 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 bow, wow, do 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 do. Now you dead, and all he has to do is sprinkle some crack on you and say, "This man just tried to offer me some crack and he pulled out a knife to try to stab me." Don't you see the knife in his hand? Still got the Walmart tag on it. He grabbed the Walmart knife that he had, was walking around in his pocket, and pulled it out on me, and I shot him in his face multiple times. Just enough to kill him. I wasn't trying to do anything other than that. I just wanted to kill him. Oh, well, that's self-defense. You go on home, brother. Matter of fact, let me give you a hug on the way out. See, you're not going to fool me. I know my mystery. So you COINTELPRO agents are beyond the dumbest people on the face of the fucking planet. You're not as intelligent as that successful guy, that famous guy that damn took down everybody back in the day. You're not smart at all. You pridefully and arrogantly and publicly announce that you are a fucking agent. And for those who don't, for those who are smart enough to disguise themselves, like many people do, disguise themselves as an Israelite, but show every action of Satan to undermine your efforts of everything, you're not fooling anybody because your eyes are telling me everything. You telling me you love me. The love is genuine. The love is present. The love is genuine. Your actions is the absolute opposite of what your mouth say. Your eyes are telling me everything. How is it possible for you to fool somebody that has this form of awareness? You're wasting your time. So there's a video on my page that teaches you how to reclaim your time. Because your time does not belong to you. Your time belongs to God. And since you don't believe in a God, you waste your time that belongs to God. So he's going to require that time back from you, clown. Well, consider this a warning.